All right, it is time for a bit of a check-in and update on what I am... Ooh, where is it? What I am currently reading. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm super excited to be here today and to share with you this video. This is going to be all of the titles on my currently reading. So these are the titles that I brought with me into 2025 from 2024. Most of them I did start in 2024, and that's because at the end of 2023, I actually finished my currently reading challenge to pretty much completion. There's actually one title that's still here, but it's a special circumstance, so I'm not worried about that. But yeah, in the fall of 2023, I actually did finish all of the books I was currently reading. It was a really big effort. I actually don't know if it was totally worth all that effort or focus. I think it was worth the effort, but I had so much focus on it, and I actually don't have a problem with carrying a lot of books on my currently reading, but when I started that project idea in 2021, I had like 30 titles on my currently reading, and like I don't even remember how many pages. It was like 10 or 20,000 pages. It was a lot of stuff. So, but now I don't have quite so many, but in part that's because last year I didn't read as much at all. I didn't do enough reading to do Friday Reads videos, but as it turns out, that means a lot of these books I haven't talked about like at all. So why not start the year in regular traditional Shannon fashion of sharing what's on my currently reading. I don't know if I always started the year with this, but I think sometimes I have, and I did like to do this regularly, and I just want to get back to doing more videos, and this definitely feels like a fun one to do. And as I said, it is because I haven't been doing as many book-related videos, lots of these titles I have never talked about. So let's just get to it. I'm going to start with the titles that I've started the most recently, and then go back in time to the titles I started furthest ago, and then I have two special circumstances, which I will leave at the end. Let's get this party started. All right, so the first title is Yuletide, Homicide by Jennifer David Hesse. Or Hesse. I'm not sure how you pronounce Atsse. So this is a mystery. This is the third book in the Wiccan Wheel mystery series. It follows a woman who is a lawyer. She is also a Wiccan, and this one is set during Yuletide. So it's set during Yule. Yule is the winter solstice, which is December 21st, forgive me. I think sometimes it changes the date. Is it? Yeah, the solstices sometimes change. And the equinoxes sometimes change because they're the starts of the season, but the other 4 days don't change. That's what it is. Anyway, so Yuletide Homicide. So this is the third book in this series. I don't know if it qualifies as a cozy because I don't know all of the things that make a cozy, but she is a lawyer, and she is someone who ended up coming across mysterious things happening. And obviously in this one, it's a pretty severe mystery because there's a homicide, and she ends up needing to figure out what's going on. In this particular one, as I said, she's a lawyer, and her and one of her colleagues are sent to a business to sort of do a bit of a audit. Because they're kind of trying to figure out what's going on. There's a threat of what's to someone in the company, this external company, and they're sent in posing as sort of auditors, but they're really trying to figure out, is this threat from within? That's sort of the setup premise of the book, and then something happens. What could it be? And then the investigation takes a different tone, tenor, and course. I really enjoy this series. I have read the first two books in this series. They're oddly not in the order of the holidays, which is why it's taken me a while, because I wanted to read them during the seasonal. I am horrible at seasonal reading. I should just stop doing it. I never finish anything in time for the season, and it doesn't matter to me to read it during the season. I know so many people really enjoy seasonal reading. I'm like, I don't read a Christmas book in July. Well, I know there's the Christmas in July thing, but I'll read a book set in spring and the fall. Like, it's not how I enjoy or experience the season by reading. I don't. I like to see like, you know, that there's no leaves on the tree, and so that lets me know that it's winter, and those kinds of things. And it is cold enough to know that it's winter. Oh my gosh, it's like -11 today Celsius, so you know. But anyway, I'm enjoying this book. I started it thinking I would read it during the winter holidays. I did not finish it in time, hence on the currently reading. Next up, we also have, I don't know if this picture will come out the best. Oh, it's not bad. The Devil's Right Hand. This is by Lilith Saintcrow. It's part of the Dante Valentine series. I'm reading it in this bind-up from the library. I actually really like this one, but this is the one that's the particular title. This is the third in the Dante Valentine series. It's an urban fantasy series. I've really enjoyed it. I haven't gotten very far into this one. Oh, I forgot to say, for Yuletide Homicide, I still have 180 pages left to go. And for The Devil's Right Hand, I have 310 pages to go. This one, it's because it's an urban fantasy series and I'm halfway through the series, or started the third of 5 books. I'm hesitant to say anything specific because I'm trying to remember where the series starts. I will say I enjoyed the first book a lot more than the second one. The first one was very sort of like adventure driven, the need to like go out and it wasn't a quest, but it was very quest-like, like go to a particular location and take care of a particular thing and getting a group of people together to help and blah, 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 blah. Like I love that whole vibe. The second one was a bit more following a mystery and a very, very challenging threat and very, very disturbing crimes, and also had some backstory elements that were very disturbing. And so for me, because of that, I hadn't come back to the series because that second book really, really stuck with me in terms of some of the things that happened were really horrible, and they were referred to again and again and again. And then there were things both in the present and the past that were both really horrible. That's why it's one of the reasons why I don't read like a lot of mystery and thriller, because I find that stuff upsetting. So with this one, it's a little bit, I don't think I know what the plot is yet. But I really like the characters, especially Dante. Like she's the protagonist, and I love its sort of fusion of tech and magic, because it's sort of like future set but written a bit in the past, like I don't know, like 2006 or 2008. So it's sort of like version of where things would go. Some of it landed, some of it didn't, but it has that combination of technology and magic and like lots of different belief systems. And I love that fusion. I really, really enjoy it. And so for me, that's one of the things I really like about the series. And the setting. So I have a lot left of this go, 310 pages. It reads pretty fast, but again, I don't know what the story is, so that makes it a little hard for me to decide when I want to read it, because I don't like to read sort of suspense stuff before I go to sleep, and often I do my reading before I go to sleep. So anyway, I have started this. I have not finished it. Hopefully I will get back to it. Next up, I have more awesomeness. The Diva Rules by Michelle Visage. Does this have a subtitle? I don't see one here. This is a nonfiction memoir by, of course, Michelle Visage, who is, I don't have a great angle with both Michelle and me at the same time. Let's go with Michelle. It's so dark. It's so dark. Oh my gosh, I don't know. If I do it on this side, is that a bit better? That's a bit better. All right, I'm not going to futz with it too much. Anyway, so this is a nonfiction memoir. If you're unfamiliar, she is a, what is the right word? Judge, I guess, on RuPaul. I'm well behind seasons and seasons, so please no spoilers. And she's a judge on that. She was in a band in the 80s. What were they called? They had a huge hit. Oh, it's escaping me right now. Anyway, but this is like a memoir, and it's also sort of like life lesson type things, and she really comes at it from this perspective of letting you in on knowing, like, you know, what she did that worked, and it's really sort of, I find it very sort of like very encouraging in terms of the be yourself and own it kind of vibes, and I'm loving it. I haven't been reading much of this, as I mentioned a few times. I haven't been reading as much last year as I normally do. Normally I would have finished this very, very quickly. I only have 120 or so pages left, and I am really enjoying it. It is on Scribd, or which is now Everand, and I'm reading it as an ebook. I don't remember if it's there as an audiobook as well. Yeah, she's awesome. Love Michelle Visage. Love her. She is a fabulous person, and okay, that worked. Why did that work? Anyway, so yeah, really want to finish this one. It's just about getting back to it. I'm loving it so far. And next up, we have some romance. So we have Awakening the Shy Miss by Bronwyn Scott. This is part of the Wallflowers to Wives series, book number 2. What a title. Gee, I wonder what happens. It's a romance. There's no spoilers here. Anyway, I actually quite enjoyed this one. I started it, I don't even remember, summer maybe, and then I read a whole bunch of it over the holidays. It's a Harlequin historical. It features a woman who is trying to catch the eye of like a local guy that she's known her entire life. I think she's had a few seasons but not had any offers, and is feeling like sort of like, gotta make the effort, and she's really making the effort. Thing is, he's not interested in her at all, and he's actually a piece of work in my opinion. But as it so happens, he's interested in investment, is one way to say the word, and ends up having this prince who he met on archaeological digs, and they've decided that there might be some important historical findings in the neighborhood, so they end up doing an archaeological dig, and her father is someone who's interested in local history, so there ends up being a bit of a connection there. It sounds ridiculous. Now that I'm saying it out loud. Anyway, I've quite enjoyed it. The energy between her and the prince is great, but the other guy really is a piece of work. And I am quite into this. I have 125 pages left, and I'm reading this on sort of a larger font situation, so that's really not that much. I'm probably like 65% of the way through the book. I probably should, whenever I get to read it next, read the rest of it, because I have a pretty strong sense of what's going to happen. It's a romance, so it's going to happen, but in terms of the story and the dig site, and there's tension, and there's things going awry, and anyway, so it's a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying it. Next up, I have another romance. We have Night of No Return by Sarah Morgan. This one I actually have in physical book. I do not remember when I started this. I only have 51 pages of this sucker left. I mean, seriously, 51 pages. So this is a Harlequin Presents. It's a contemporary romance. It's from 2012. It unfortunately features one trope that I am not a fan of, which is that the relationship is between employer and employee. She is his PA or EA. He is a millionaire. I don't even remember what he does. He's just a rich businessman, and she is his assistant, and no other assistant would stay, but she persisted, and it's really important to her, and the job and the money are really important to her, so she puts a lot of effort into it. And then one night where he, runs off without signing something that he needs to, she goes after him in his mansion or whatever, like his winter cottage or a castle or whatever, and then there's gets snowed in, and then we go from there. So I actually don't really like the characters in this one. I don't like his character pretty much at all. And I thought there was some really good writing in this one, in terms of there were things that were red herrings that I didn't even pick up were red herrings, and then they sort of revealed and made sense, and I was like, oh, that's some good writing there. There was one that I picked up on, but there were a couple that I didn't, so I thought that was really good. They have really good chemistry. And they have some pretty tough backstories, to be honest. So it's not as light as I would normally think a romance, like a contemporary romance from Presents. I don't read a lot of Presents, but also it's like the Presents part is really that sort of he's rich. Often it's more like, princes and stuff like that. But this one, it's businessmen. So yeah, and he is a bit of a womanizer. A bit of is an understatement. So anyway, so she definitely was not interested. especially because she needs the job security. And for me, there's just like, and I don't know if we're still getting like having this kind of romance where it is employer-employee was very common for a very long period of time. I don't know so much if we're still getting them. Like, this book is now 13 years old, 12 and a half years old. But for me, I don't like it as a trope. There's a power dynamic, it's an imbalance in power, and I don't think that that's appropriate. So I don't like that. But you gotta, like, with this kind of title, you just sort of putting that aside. It's a reason why they know each other, basically. It creates some tension, but not so much tension, and you generally know where these are gonna go. Well, you do, because it's romance. You know where it's gonna go. Anyway, I have 50 pages left. I really need to just finish that one. Next up, we're going back to the land of nonfiction, and that is The Answer Is Reflections on My Life by Alex Trebek. So Alex Trebek is going to have to go on this side again. Obviously was the host of Jeopardy, and this is actually similar to the Michelle Visage book. This one's actually in shorter vignettes. Hers are more like themed chapters and chronological, and this one's more like vignettes, also chronological, but they're quite short. It actually reminds me a little bit of All Creatures Great and Small in terms of like how short some of the chapters are, and I just I gotta say, I wish I'd like this more. It is good, without question. It is good, but I just feel like I'm not connecting with it as much as I thought I would, and maybe that's because he's Canadian and he's from Ontario, and so some of the stories, locations, and stuff like that are familiar to me, and because I know people. And I've heard a lot of stories from people who are from this demographic. And so I think for me, that's throwing me off a little bit. The specifics, of course, aren't familiar, but the more generic things are. So anyway, I'm not quite sure what to do with this one. I still have 244 pages left. Wow, that is a lot of pages. It might be one that's worth checking to see if it's on audio, because I'm sure that it's on audio, but I don't think it's narrated by him. He did pass away, and I'm not sure when the book came out. But, I still love Alex Trebek, and I have lots of fun memories of watching Jeopardy, there's a lot amazing there, but I don't know, I haven't come back to it a lot, but also my reading has been... it's like the kind of thing, like, if I was still reading, like, 3 nonfiction books a month or whatever, I wouldn't even think twice about it. But because I am finishing less and reading less, I'm trying to, I'm wondering if, should I be more discerning and, like, DNF it or leave it for now? I don't know. I don't know what to do. So it feels awkward. That's mostly what I can say. The truth is, it feels awkward. Speaking of, this title might be awkward for some people, and that is Existential Kink, Unmask Your Shadow and Embrace Your Power by Carolyn Elliott. This is another nonfiction book. This is I think it's about the shadow self. And this one I'm reading mostly because a method of getting what you want by getting off on what you don't. Well, that's a very strong statement. Wow. So for me, this one I'm reading more for context, because I know a lot of people who have read it and it's been very impactful for them. So while I don't know if the method or the ideas in it are something that I would lean to or follow, having the vocabulary and understanding the philosophy will without question be beneficial. So that's why I started this one, or that's what got me into it, is knowing other people reading it and talking about it. And I don't know if it's something that will resonate with me specifically, but understanding the context and what it means to people will without question be helpful. So I have still a fair amount of this one to go, just under 200 pages. And so that is definitely one that I plan on getting back to. More nonfiction, this is quite a theme here. This one is Visual Grammar Design Foundations for Editors by Christy S. Gilbert. This one I picked up on Scribd. I have 60 pages left. It's only like 75 pages long. Pardon pardon me. I started it last year because I was taking a class that had an element of it of like encouraging us to read a nonfiction art book and take notes and like work with it and stuff like that. And so I started that, and then I just didn't do the thing. I just didn't do my homework. And then I just put it to the side. So this one, I mean, like, honestly, I know a lot about visual grammar and design foundations, but I love elements of design. Like, I could talk about, you know, like, balance and form and texture and like proportion and emphasis like forever. So like it's no harm at all to finish it, but it's just like the method in which I was reading it is what fell off. The practice of reading something and like taking notes and trying to apply them and that kind of stuff, that totally fell by the wayside last year, like so many things did. So I don't know whether I should just read it. I don't know whether I should try and get back to that practice or whether I should just leave it. I don't know. So anyway, but that is one of the oldest books, and that is one the first that I started last year that I haven't finished. And then we get back to the second oldest, which is The Sundering by Richard A. Knack, Warcraft, War of the Ancients, Book 3. I actually have this in physical edition. So this one I started, I think, in November 2023, after I finished the Currently Reading Challenge, the most recent iteration of the Currently Reading Challenge. And I have 255 pages left, which is a fair amount. It is like, you know, classic fantasy, small font. It is within the world of Warcraft. This one's following, I guess I shouldn't probably say. Anyway, so the challenge I have with this one, this is the third book of the second trilogy of a series of books that was given to me by someone I gamed with when I started gaming, like playing World of Warcraft when it was originally released. So I feel, one, extremely bad that I haven't finished it until now, and two, it's been so long that I can't remember if they were sent as gifts or like, hey, you might read this and give it back to me. So if not, Jairus, I am so sorry. You know, I'm actually not still in contact with him anymore, but I could find him on Facebook, but it's just like one of those things. It's just, I can't believe it's taken me this long to get to it. So of course I did play WoW when it first came out. I came back to it, I stopped playing, I came back to it, and then I have been playing since 2021. So I've been playing for a fair amount of time, and I've read through the first 3 books in the earlier series, and then this is the War of the Ancients trilogy, and the last of the War of the Ancients trilogy, and I do find it a bit challenging to like play. So at some points I was like literally playing in some of the zones, like doing the story of some of the zones while reading the books at the same time. So that was very confusing to me. This character, for anyone who's played WoW, you know who this is, like pretty much. And so you know, he's a very iconic character within the game, and I actually really love some of the characters, and this one brings in some other characters that I wasn't expecting to see, and honestly, I just need to finish it out. In some ways, I think it's just be easier and better for me just to think of it as a book series, just think of it as a fantasy series. This one has a lot of fighting, it's going to be the culmination of a lot of things. It might make things in the game make a lot more sense if I just finish it. Mind you, they get a little creative sometimes. But I just haven't gotten back to it, and I haven't read it very much. Like, I really thought I was further into it. I'm 118 pages, and it's just under it's 370 pages. So I just have not been really consistent with reading it. Thankfully, this is also on Everand, so I have it downloaded to my phone, and so I can just read it there as well, if that's easier, or on my tablet than reading it physically, because it is, I mean, I'm not used to reading such small fonts anymore, but anyway, that's a whole other thing. So that is the oldest-ish book that I have read. So those were the 9 regular reads that I can read at my own pace. The 2 Special Circumstances books are both buddy reads. So my current buddy read that I started this month with, that I'm reading with Izzy and Kay Kelly, is The Marvelers, and this is by Donnell Clayton. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This is a kid's middle grade fantasy magic school type situation. I haven't read a lot of it. The live show is at the end of the month. It is Thursday, the January 30th, if you're interested in joining us. And this one follows a girl who is invited to be part of a magic school, and it's the first time that someone with the magic that she has and her family has been invited to be included in the school. So we'll see how that goes. Fingers crossed. I will have to say, I love the magic in this. I love it so much. It's very much, when I think of magic it's very much akin to, like, it just makes sense to me. Like, it just makes sense to me. I'm like, I get it. I understand what's going on. I don't need it explained. I understand. So and there's a lot of really, really great characters, and the description of the magic and stuff has been really cool. So I'm not very much into it. I have 360 pages left, which I really need to get on, because my goodness gracious, I don't read as much as consistently, so I mean, I gotta get to this, but I gotta finish it before the 30th, before the live show. So I'm really enjoying it. And then the other buddy read I am reading is Sword of Darkness, which is the second book in the Lords of Avalon, or the seventh book in the Dark Hunter series. This is by Kinley McGregor, or Sherilyn Kenyon, whose pen name, Kinley McGregor is a pen name for these Arthurian urban fantasy historical paranormal books. And I'm reading these with Anita from Anita Reads, and we were reading this, and then we just stopped, and I don't know what happens. She doesn't know what happens. I don't know what happened. We just stopped reading. So we're going to get back to it this month. I'm really excited about that. It's been a long time, and but I do consider, like, my buddy reads are sort of like a different pace. I don't worry about them in terms of currently reading. The most important thing for me with buddy reads is that we're reading together. So I only am concerned about that we're going at the pace that works for us and not any other pace. So I'm thrilled to get back to it, and I don't know what happened, and that's fine. Live in the now, and we'll start it again. As I mentioned, yeah, this is a Arthurian-ish paranormal historical romance, and it's sort of tangential to the Dark Hunter series, which is an urban fantasy paranormal romance. It's technically paranormal romance because they have different characters. They focus on a different couple with the Dark Hunter series and with this Lords of Avalon series, but it does have a lot more. The Dark Hunter series has a lot more world building in terms of, like, what urban fantasies tend to be like, and it does have what feels like an overarching plot within the world. I think these ones are a bit more self-contained, and it's been a long time since I've read it, so I'm going to have to see if I think I took notes. I'll have to look for them. Because I'm like, I remember where the characters are, and I remember what's going on, but I don't remember the plot very much. But sometimes with stories that are paranormal romance, the plot, one, they remind you, and two, there's a lot of sort of like action and intrigue and suspense that sort of moves the story forward. There's some really good characters in this one, but they're in a bit of a tricky situation, if I remember correctly, so we'll have to get back to that one. So those are the 11 books on my currently reading as we start here in 2023. 9 of those are my regular reads, 2 of those are my buddy reads, and overall it is about 2,000 pages, 500 of which is the buddy reads and 1,500 is the non-buddy reads, and that is not that many pages overall. When I first did the currently reading challenge, it was my goal to read 2,000 pages in 1 month. So, I mean, this is only 2,050 pages, and I'm not setting the goal of reading it all this month, but I just need to get sort of back in the habit, just be more consistent with reading, figure out what pace I want to go, how much time and what kind of time I want to set aside for it, and those kinds of things. I just felt really off all of my practices and habits last year in so many different ways, and I had a lot of technical challenges. It was really hard to read on my tablet, and I had a challenge with the library. I did finally resolve being able to read from my library, but it does rely on having a pretty good internet signal, which I don't always have late at night on my tablet. So I don't know. I would prefer to have a tablet where I can download the apps and then download the books, like, so I can download Libby and download Everand and then download it to my tablet, as opposed to needing the internet and reading it online, which is what I'm really doing, because especially for something like reading manga, it's just like molasses slow to turn the pages, and I'm like, if I'm waiting 2 minutes for the page to turn, I'm just not going to read it. And that's what ended up happening last year for a lot of things. Anyway, so hopefully this year I'll have, be more consistent with my reading. I don't know what my videos are going to end up looking like, but I thought this would be a fun way to start. So let me know, how many books did you bring with you into 2025, if that's something that you keep track of. I know Anita did do a video of the books that she brought in with to the new year, so that was really cool to see. And yeah, I feel like this is, in terms of grand scheme of things, like last year, I'm sure it was less. I didn't track it. I did not track it. And that's also fine. I think I spent a lot of focus from 2021 to 2023 on my currently reading. And you know, I did clear everything off, but I mean, look what happened. So only one of these books is, two of them are from that long ago. Most of them are from last year. Most of them I just started and never got back to, because that's what currently reading is. It's not currently reading. It's like, hey, I started it and I didn't finish it, but that's a bit long for a video title. Anyway, I think this will be really fun to look back on and to see how long it takes me to get to some of these. Maybe it will provide some great inspiration to get to some of these titles. We shall see. This is another epically long video. I am so sorry about that. I have another video that's even longer, that's either already gone up or will go up in the near future, that is looking back on 2024 and looking ahead to 2025 in terms of like books, film, TV, mostly not so much books, but film, TV, and journaling, art, and goals in general. So yeah, I'm getting back into the rhythm of filming, so I am a bit more yappity, and that's just the way of it. So yeah, let me know how you're doing, how your year has started so far, and how many books you're bringing with you into this new year. And can we still call it that, even though it's getting close to, I think it's the 10th by the time this will go up? Anyway, yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and I will be back with another video hopefully soon. Thanks for watching.